Hey everybody, it's Hylian Alchemist, and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Red. In the last episode, we defeated Lieutenant Surge and got our Thunder Badge, and in this episode, we are finally going to get our HM05, which contains Flash, because off-screen, right after I ended off my recording for the last episode, I caught 2 more Pokemon, which fills up the Pokedex to about 10 Pokemon owned. So with that, we have now gotten our HM05, finally. And so, I'm gonna go ahead and teach to Pikachu. I definitely do not want to teach it to Ariala, because I already know of a good moveset for her. And yeah, even though it's only in Generation 2 where they introduced, genders, I'm gonna be, I'll still assume that, my Clefairy is a female. I mean, you can probably say that Ariala kinda does sound like a feminine name, so I'm just gonna go for that. Well, I mean, pretty much all of the males and maybe 2 females. I can assume that. Although there are some Pokemon that have, like, you know, for instance, there's, the Nidoran lines, like, you know, there's Nidoran female and Nidoran male. And also there's a Pokemon called Mr. Mime, which, of course, that one guy at that one house, would trade you a Mr. Mime for, I think if you trade him in Abra. I think. But yeah, starting with Gen 2, then all the Pokemon besides the Nidoran line would have genders, with some exceptions, such as Magnemite. There are some Pokemon that could be genderless, mostly legendary Pokemon. Of course, despite the name Mr. Mime, there actually is such thing as a female Mr. Mime. And, of course, that would mean that there is no, like, Mrs. Mime or Miss Mime or something. I don't know. I guess they probably just... Well, maybe it's because its Japanese name didn't have any, It didn't have, Oh, what was I looking for? It didn't have some sort of male name. Like, you know, it didn't have a Mr. in it. But, of course, for the international releases, well, I mean, in America, then it's called Mr. Mime. I guess, the Pokemon Company in America just probably didn't think this true. I don't know. I'm not part of their team, so I don't know what is going on with them. So anyways, we have now left Vermilion City, finally. And by going to the eastern side of Cerulean City, we have now reached Route 9. There's quite a lot of ledges right here, so, let's try to be careful not to accidentally jump down them. And maybe well, there's still a way to get around those ledges by just going a long way, and that is TM30, and that contains Teleport. Which, of course, I'm not going to use because, you know, well, Teleport, like, you know, in battle, it is also a field move. Like, you know how Teleport lets you escape from battle? Of course, it doesn't even work at all in trainer battles because you can't really flee battles. When you're outside of battle, Teleport will let you warp to a Pokemon Center. Or the last Pokemon Center that you visited last time. So it can be pretty helpful, but we don't really need it at this point because there's another HM move. Well, of course, the HM for Fly. Since we got the Thunder Badge, we're able to use Fly, but we don't have the HM yet, but later on we will. Because, later on we'll be, using Fly instead of Teleport, because, well, you know, we really don't need that. So anyway, Trainer of Interest here, he said his Pokemon were raised from cocoons. It is not Butterfree. I can't believe it's not Butterfree. But rather Beedrill. So Beedrill is, I guess you could say, a counterpart to Butterfree. It is the finally evolved form of Weedle. Same kind of levels that, of how the Caterpie line would evolve, just, I believe by level 10, then Kakuna will evolve to Beedrill. I think it's pretty good on attack, and also, despite the fact that Beedrill can fly right now, it is still a Bug Poison type. Yes, Butterfree is able to become a flying type as soon as it evolves, but, you know, first 2 stages, it was Bug Poison, but unfortunately, despite the fact that Beedrill can fly, it's still Bug Poison, and it will stay that way forever. And this Beedrill is just sitting here going like,
well, I guess that's just the way my life is gonna be. Stupid Butterfree.
Anyways, get through this grass here, and we get an Ether. hidden inside this little shrubbery right here. And thank God I didn't even run into any random encounters. That always happens with me a lot. Like, you know, I just get through some of the tall grass, even though it's only for a brief amount of time, but I still get random encounters very easily. So I guess I was just lucky right there. Yeah, most of the trainers around here will consist of hikers, and also especially in the in one of those in that dungeon that we'll get to later on. And sorry for that little noise there. That was my headset. I was kind of touching the cord there for some reason. So we go up here, and here's another bug catcher. And of course another bug catcher adventures as well, because he is of course using a Pokemon we have not encountered yet. Since we get past those first two Pokemon like that Caterpie. Now let's see. Is there anything else that I would talk about before we get to that Pokemon? Doesn't seem to be much to say, but, you know, nevertheless, we did take that this Weedle, and now he's going to send out Venonat. So, this Venonat here, bug poison type, it does use, psychic moves, so if you actually, want, like, you know, if you don't feel like having to, waste your Pokeballs on Abra, and just, you know, since Abra is pretty much luck-based in this generation at least, Venonat could be another option for you if you want to use Psychic-type moves, but of course, being a Poison-type, it is weakened by Psychic attacks, so... And considering the fact of how broken Psychic-types are in this generation, then... Yeah, it might be a little bit of a tough decision here. But yeah, I wasn't really wanting to have my Clefairy use Flash, because I actually want a good moveset for Clefairy. It has a really good move pool. So I really don't want to waste wasted space on HM moves. Especially, like, only in this generation, it's entirely impossible to get rid of HM moves. And that's like one kind of downside to all this when it comes to HMs in Gen 1. I bet your ass I'm a little toughy. But yeah, that's... I mean, I know I've said it a lot of times about, like, how much HMs can suck. Some exceptions, though, like, you know, there are some HM moves that I actually still like, but most of the HMs, they're just unneeded. I mean, why the tools just don't exist in this generation? Just why is that a thing there? Anyway, so here we have Meowth. It is the, I guess it would be the regional cat for the Kanto region. And of course, all of you already know Meowth from the anime, of course, Talking Meowth from Team Rocket. Meowth does have a signature move, which is Payday, and what that does is that, like, it is a damage-dealing move, but here's another cool thing about it, is that, like, after the battle's over, then you can pick whatever, it actually scatters coins around, like, you know, Pokédollars, per se. So, like, if Meowth uses Payday once, and after the Pokédollars are scattered, then after the battle's over, you actually get to pick up 10 extra Pokédollars. So that is actually kind of cool like that, even though it is quite small. And before heading to that Pokemon Center, I'm going to go ahead and make sure to just battle this trainer first. Yeah, this game and Gold and Silver, it's actually quite convenient that, like, it's probably the only games to place Pokemon Centers before dungeons. Probably not counting Sun and Moon. Well, I mean, maybe I guess they're just placed there only because, like, they're usually placed around the trial sites and not necessarily near dungeons, so I may not be counting those. I mean, like, I'll have to say that this game and Gold and Silver are probably the only Pokemon games to have Pokemon Centers placed before dungeons and, like, in routes, basically. And, like, someplace else other than towns or cities. I know that Sun and Moon did that too, but that's only because they only place those before getting to any trial sites, like before you start your trial. So anyways, here we are in Rock Tunnel, and yes, that is why we need Flash, because it is awfully dark. It's very dark. It's very hard to see. Oh yeah, look at this dialogue here.
Pokemon fight! Ready? Go!
Yes, that was from Mobile Fighter G Gundam. Who would have thought? And this right here is Cubone. Cubone is a ground type. It has a few moves that it's well, some of its signature moves, such as Bone Club, like this one here. And it also has Boomerang, and later on in Gen 2, it would learn Bone Rush. You know, as a matter of fact, I actually kind of thought that Bone Rush was introduced in Gen 4. Some say Gen 3, but I don't quite remember seeing Bone Rush in Gen 3. I always thought it was introduced in Gen 4. But then when I looked it up, it was actually introduced in Gen 2. I didn't quite remember seeing that in Gen 2, but apparently it was. Anyway, I haven't gone on to explain about the Pokemaniacs. That was our first encounter with them. Pokemaniacs, they tend to use Pokemon that are very rare. You know, considering the fact that, like you know, they are huge Pokemon fanatics, but they tend to use rare Pokemon. And there's actually, like, you know, something else I want to say about Cubone. As you probably already know, Cubone is, without a doubt, one of the most depressing Pokemon in existence. I mean, we'll actually see more of that later on, like when we get to the next town, which is what Cubone could be known for. I mean, it's kind of quite a focus for Cubone in the next town we're about to go to. Like, you know, it's kind of side of the story, so. Anyway, I don't think you would necessarily need Flash to get through Rock Tunnel. I mean, it's still possible to get through Rock Tunnel without the use of Flash, but, I mean, the only thing you'd have to do is, like, you know, you probably have to look closely into the screen and maybe just feel your way through. I mean, that's probably just my best kind of advice if you're trying to be a masochist, then go through Rock Tunnel without the use of Flash, but I still chose to go through Rock Tunnel with Flash because it's easier that way and I don't want to have to be here for a long time. And not to mention, Rock Tunnel is kind of a frustrating dungeon because there are dead ends everywhere. So for first-time players, if you're not quite used to the layout of Rock Tunnel, you'll be running into quite a lot of dead ends. Well, if it is your first time playing this game. And here's our first time battling against Bulbasaur. So I thought I'd probably want to show that off. Damn poison powder. Anyway, there's something else I want to say, but I forgot what it was. Let's see here. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say beforehand. It was something about this dungeon, but I think I've already explained plenty enough. Well, actually, here's something I also want to talk about. Well, when it comes to the Pokemaniacs, like this guy that we're about to battle against. Yeah, he's talking about costume players, and in later generations, like starting with Gen 3, then they actually take this kind of trope, and they'll actually be cosplaying. That's only started with Gen 3. Well, actually, in Ruby and Sapphire, they'll actually start cosplaying, either as Charizard, or in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, they actually cosplay as Tyranitar. So they actually did kind of take this trope and just they just use it upon that, just to emphasize more on their Pokemania. Yeah, this guy here.
Hit me with your best shot. Why don't you hit me with your best shot? Fire it away.
Yeah, every time I see that, like, I encounter this guy, he says this line, that song always gets stuck in my head. He actually goes and just makes that reference there to that song. And then it just gets stuck in my head. It happens every time I encounter this guy. And yeah, I don't have very many ethers here. I would have to use them considering the fact that, you'll be encountering a lot of hikers, like I was saying before, in Rock Tunnel, and they'll be using their, well, what they always specialize in, like mostly Rock-type Pokemon, kind of a Brock rehash, so, since, I only have my, Ivysaur that'll be using Grass-type moves, then, and of course, the only Grass-type attack that, Vado has is Vine Whip, but it has 10 PP, so I might be using Ethers quite a few times. So right now I have around 2 left, but, we are just about halfway through Rock Tunnel. I just ended off here since I reached up to 30 minutes, despite the, well, just about 16-minute long video, but I just wanted to, cut this off halfway, well, consider the fact that of, my usual kind of time limit when it comes to, recording this game. So, in the next episode, we are going to finish off Rock Tunnel and hopefully reach the next town, and the next town is the one town that everybody knows about, and of course, if you're into creepypastas, well, you probably know what's going to be up ahead. So, until the next episode, I will see you guys later, and we will see what that town is going to be like. Ooh, the mystery. Anyway, see you guys then.